What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy. Can't tell me shit. Hey man, say man, we are lit, eh? Lit your cheese, man. Turn. Today, it's motherfucking day. So here outside, big crib in the gas train, that shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia do your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new way to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down. I'll go back. Never let somebody tell you are. Boss, never put yourself in a position of belong. Stay humble. Let's get on the revolution. Keep y'all with first. Come to the black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. Let's get into this bitch. Alright. Today, it's motherfucking day. So here outside, big crib in the gas train, that shit, man. Outside shit. Alright, gang. So we're finna talk about Big Meech. Man, Big Screech. Man, what the fuck happened, man? It's like Big Meech, man, he had one of the most legendary, you know what I'm saying, careers as far as him as being black and coming up in the system. But it's like, damn, he kind of ruined his whole fucking like shit with the snitch shit. You know what I'm saying? In this video, man, we're gonna talk about Cuffy. We got Big Homie CC. We got Dean. These two of them people gonna talk about how they felt about the 42 Doug and Big Meech and how they talking about how he snitched and shit, man. You know, a lot of celebrities couldn't deal with that. You know what I'm saying? We got audio of Big Meech getting into an argument with Cuffy. You know, if Cuffy won his co-defendants, they said he snitched on him, kept him in jail. His nephew got in an argument with Big Meech, and like this shit get crazy, bro. Like real quick, man. You know, 42 Deck tried to help out, but a lot of shit went on, man. So we got the videos. I hope y'all get to understand what's the fuck going on. Like I told y'all, man, y'all gotta understand, man. The government used all this shit just to keep black people down, you know, and it's like we gotta figure out some ways to keep winning, man, during all this bullshit, man. Let's get into it. Alright, gang. So we finna talk about the Big Meech debacle. Big Homie CC, y'all know who that is. He's a bodyguard who been exposed in the industry for doing weird, freaky shit. That they was trying to, I guess they were trying to say Rick Ross owed Big Meech money on, and that's why, you know, that's why he did all this shit. But let's get into it. These are rumors, so we don't know. True. Let's get into this shit.
A lot of people think that Ross is fucking with him because he made all that money off that song that he did, what was it, like 10 plus years ago?
I think on
Big Meech, Larry Hoover. So he kind of owes Meech some money.
When that song came out, that's probably like the hottest I ever seen a rapper that I ever saw. The photograph with Rick Ross and Larry Hoover Jr. in the club, I took that picture.
What?
People was confronting Ross everywhere about the words he said in that song. Even some of the BMF guys for saying he think he Big Meech. So you just made a valid point right there because he know he on solid. He know you on solid, and you beefing with his main op.
Yeah.
Come on over to MMG Estates, man. Come on over there. And then you see Ross saying he want to buy 50 masters and all of that. This is what I'm saying. And if it's real gangster going on, there needs to be a round table because the GD showed up to Club Vibe on 1534 Kingsbury, 100 deep, with Larry Hoover Jr., 100 deep to confront Ross about saying the old man name in the song. When they got into the section, because James Fears was Ross bodyguard. And he had another guy with him when they got there. And then the same night, the court had served Ross with papers because they had beat a dude, beat another dude, another club who they reached and touched Ross' chain. You see what I'm saying? So I was there for this. I know how serious it could get. The photo of Larry Hoover Jr. and Rick Ross, when they shake it, I was right there for the conversation. I heard the conversation. I took the photo. They had the round table right there, though, in the club, and they got it together. So when it come to Meech had guys getting BMF tats on their face in the pen.
Damn.
He got charisma. He got leadership skills. He know what to say. He know what to do. He got love, respect, and reverence. We still ain't seen no black and white of him saying anything about anybody. So for 50 to sit on this information, he planned to get backtracked. He planned to get backdoored. He planned to get crossed because he expected a certain type of loyalty from Meech for what he did for Lil Meech, for what he did by getting the BMF name popping again. Because I believe 50 owned the rights to BMF, right or wrong?
Yep, that's what they say.
He owned the rights to it. So if this man owned the rights to your brand, stay the course. Run this out little dog so you can run your cheese up, purchase your rights back, and then branch off do your own thing. That's weird shit. I'm not mad at 50 about this because at the end of the day, motherfuckers, people got a lot to be players again, bro. People got to learn how to really keep it gangster. If you booked and somebody who not related to your son put him in the game to be great, that should count for something, bro. Don't go over here taking pictures with motherfuckers.
I think Big Meech is mad because he didn't get no money out when he got up from his son.
Now that one, when T took a picture with Preem's son, that was a little fucked up because they got real beef.
And then Preem called us.
They got real beef, bro. That's different. Let me just say that's different than Rick Ross on some internet beef, bro.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Supreme shit is real. So I feel like 50 had a right to be upset about that.
Right.
Tell me when his son took a picture with his op.
Let's take the situation with Ross though. Like somebody called 50 label and told him to fall back because he was killing them online. But the thing was, at that time they was both signed to labels. And the people who cut the checks is worried about their intellectual property getting damaged. It's the same situation we've seen with Drake and Kendrick. Drake ain't trying to sue Kendrick. But the label who gave him that $50 million bonus is like, hold on. Y'all damaging our intellectual property. Y'all playing with the cheese. So now we're going to have to see y'all in court about this. It's all the same shit. But with this situation, these guys claim to be street, gangster, operating amongst those social norms. Why can't motherfuckers get on the phone call and meet up? Because when I've had very similar situations with people and it was real problems, but ain't nobody died. You know what I'm saying? Shout out my boy Philly, yo. He told me a similar situation. You feel me? I pushed up on and we have a conversation, a dialogue about it before it get out of hand. Because people loyal to 50 might see Lil Me somewhere. Then y'all go, 50 and Floyd don't get along. 50 and Ross don't get along. Then y'all go link up with them. That's crazy to me. You don't think that's weird? So now y'all gonna hang with everybody that he beef with. And y'all know he petty. And he hold grudges. And he believe it's you when you living and it's you when you dead. He was dissing Herb Gotti when he was dead. You think he finna change?
Hell no.
No. You a boss, you gotta know who you dealing with. You gotta know the ins and outs of this shit. You feel me? I just feel like people ain't moving how they supposed to move at all, bro, because
they not. When he came out, he got a little too
conversations
frantic.
we be having, we got the up. we moving tack. You feel me? We gonna try to get, but see, you can't even get on the phone call with motherfuckers now because they recording every phone call.
That's
like the
a
police.
fact. Crip.
Straight dorks, bro. Like straight. Everybody dorks now. Like this just the zestiest era in history. You feel
That's
me?
a fact.
I'm getting ready to
All
go
these
to
zesty
Boom
ass
Gang
niggas.
University again. I'm gonna get my doctorate in zestology this time because, like, my PhD is cool, but I got to get that next level because I don't understand what's going on. Because
Me either, man. Like the whole world trying to LGBT shit,
of our community,
gay shit,
and just like the little females on that baddie show, but ain't nobody fighting each other. We just arguing and screaming and basically pulling hair. Dork shit to me. I ain't gonna bap with you. Shout out Big Dugas, man. Go get that Baby Gang Chief. Is out right now, tearing up the streams. Go get that Baby Gang Chief. The world in a bad place, Cam. I've been getting into so much shit like for the last 25 years, probably. I feel like children, because all of the men I respect, when them kids came, they slowed it down. They said, oh, okay. It ain't just about me no more. I'm thinking about that right there. I'm trying to find me a good lady I can marry and have me a shorty.
Man, you can't marry none of these hoes this day. They out there popping that pussy.
Wow. Because you know, like,
it's everybody pussy these days. Can't
me and the
can't
dude
marry these
Combs,
hoes.
bro, we done had some run-ins, bro, and like the fact that they got me in that lawsuit still got me feeling strange because
That lawsuit was crazy. With Drewski.
It's another lawsuit coming too, though.
Damn, it's another lawsuit?
I'm gonna give you an exclusive. It's a guy right now who shopping a video. He's he missing these 3 fingers right here. He claiming I'm the reason he don't got them fingers. But the guy's a pedophile. You see what I'm saying? Registered sex offender.
Shout out to Art of Dialogue. Gene Deal explains how Big Meech got cut and 50 Cent's calling him. You know what I'm saying? Call him. Man, this shit crazy.
You
Man.
and 50, y'all had a back and forth on social media about Big Meech, and you ended up apologizing to 50. If you can you give me the backstory behind that? What's going on with Big Meech?
Yo, bruh, you know, I don't want to be like everybody on the internet and come to any kind of assumptions about this. So I went and I read the paperwork. You understand? I read what was available. I asked some agents that were friends of mine. They were my fraternity brothers about certain situations. I asked guys who had that 848 kingpin charges. I asked guys who was in jail at the time. And I got all the information from them. But I could be just like everybody else and just have assumptions about the whole situation. So the thing about, and me, when I took up for Meech, it was because I've been around Meech. You understand? I've had conversations with Meech, and I always known Meech as being a stand-up guy. You understand?
That shit can change,
so
though.
I jumped out the window. You understand? Because
You let your emotions
I
get
didn't
involved.
see that in Meech. You know, I didn't see him doing that. But that's not none of my business to know the intricate parts of it. So me to speak on that, I had to go and see what was out there. And now,
You always gotta check
you might have to
information,
have
man.
a whole nother hour to this, bro, because it's longer than what people realize it is. And I'm going to try to do it as short as possible. Is this. Meech and that girl Tammy Collins, who somehow he gave his rights to the BMF thing too. You understand? And she was giving it up on both sides to the panties to everybody. That's what you could tell, because she was even having sexual relationships with the agent and the DEA, T-State agents. You do not get involved with the women that you are got under investigations and they CIs for you. But somehow she got to this agent, and this agent was giving her mad money, $2,500 a week. And then she gets a check for $80,000. She get checks for $250,000. They had to cut it off so he wouldn't have to. They had to cut him out the system where he couldn't give her nothing, and he couldn't have no rights to the computers or anything, bro. It was crazy. So now, what I'm hearing and what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing is that Meech connected her allegedly with the dude Cuffy, but I don't believe that he connected her with Cuffy as far as the paperwork going, because Meech would have been recharged and everything. If he would have connected her with Cuffy, he probably would have been recharged, you know what I'm saying, for the drug trafficking thing that they caught Cuffy in, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? But there's paperwork out there. I believe that he connected her with Cuffy because Cuffy wanted to buy the rights, you know, to do the movie or whatever like that. And then somehow it got to whereas that the agents knew Cuffy and used her to get at him.
Damn.
With these other people. These
That's
other
why
two
Cuffy's
Spanish
so mad.
dudes that people don't talk about. Suarez and Fernando or whatever like that. Because those Spanish guys don't care nothing. Those Mexicans don't care nothing about blacks. They snitch on you. Y'all talk about ratting and snitch on them. That's all they do.
That's a fact.
They call that business.
Fact.
They call that business.
That's a big fact.
So what I'm seeing is far different from what I'm hearing. In the paperwork, you don't see that Meech was a cooperative third party. Because when I spoke to the agents that I spoke to, shout out to my bros, when I spoke to them, they said this: in order for Tammy to have Meech as a cooperating third-party cooperative, the agent has to speak to Meech at least once with his counsel, they're going to draw up the paperwork, and it's some kind of secret thing that I forgot the name of it, man. I'm sorry about that. But they draw up the paperwork that he's going to be a third-party cooperative witness. She's going to be working off time for him. This is what the agents were telling me. He said they cannot do that unless they talk to Meech. Now, it's nowhere in that paperwork that it said that the agent spoke to Meech or Meech is in that paperwork, because they have to write everything and present that. They got to cross their T's and dot their I's. Now, I'm getting this from agents who do the work for the DEA. They retired so they could tell me this. You understand? So I looked at that. Now I go back and I look at the whole situation and I say, well, I didn't see nothing that in that paperwork. Maybe it's something out there. I don't know. I didn't see it. I can only go by what I hear and what I see. So now I look at Meech's paperwork and look at his time, and it coincides with the time cuts and all this stuff like that. But then I was like, in our time, because there's a lot of guys that sold way more drugs than Meech. They got a guy in California, one guy that sold way more drugs than the whole BMF thing. You understand what I'm saying? So, but why did he get the time cut? And then I had to see that his cooperation with the government was not taking it to trial. His cooperation with the government was convincing his brother not to go to trial. His cooperation with the government was telling the 5 people below him that he supervised in his plea agreement. And everybody does that. They do a plea agreement, they say what they did, and the government, they had to go in front of the judge and say, yo, the government, the prosecutor said, that's true, something else is true. So that's what they have to do. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what he did. He helped the government in a plea agreement by not going to trial. That would have been a 6 to 8 month trial, because they had about 35 to 50 witnesses against them. And then you got to realize, and that's how he got to cut, not the kingpin charge. It's a 848C or something like that. 848BC. Got them not to go to trial. What the shit it is, I don't remember. But that's why he didn't get it. He got the 30 years, and then he got certain time cuts for not going to trial, for convincing his brother not to go to trial, and I guess he convinced the other 5 people that he said that he supervised. Because, they didn't have an opportunity, I guess, because had they went to trial, Meech already gave a statement that he supervised them. Damn. So they couldn't go to trial. So it's a whole lot of shit. So they couldn't go to trial to fight for their name, because he already cared enough to look at it, because I jumped out the window on 50. So 50 had some other information. 50 had some other things, and he probably had way more information than I did, so I apologized to him. You understand? Because it was something I should have kept my mouth closed about. But because I knew Meech was always a stand-up guy, you understand? Because I knew Meech was always that dude, I jumped out the window on 50. So I apologize, because evidently 50 had way more information than I had. 50 had some other stuff, or saw some other things that I didn't see. So now I apologize to 50. 50 came back and said, apology accepted, Gene. And then everybody on the whole internet got into it, was talking about, yo, why 50 accepted Gene apology? 50 is relentless. He usually go out and clown people and say this and say that. 50, one man to the next man, know that when he had his altercation, his situation with Ja Rule when he was at Black Hands Around the Black Hands crew, I stood up in his defense and I told him what I needed to tell him. And as men, he respected that. So, as far as that Meech thing and that 50 thing, bruh, I want to stay out of it. I said what I said because I told you that I was going to tell you.
I was like that Drake situation with Kendrick.
What was the situation with that and what I
You don't want
found
to get
out
involved in
about
some
that.
bullshit that you don't even know what the fuck they talking about.
That's one thing I want to stay out of it right there. And I respect both of them as men. That's their thing. They do their thing. You know, 50 didn't jump out the window on me because he know as a man that I'm my own man and I've always been. And he know no matter who it is or whatever the situation, I'm going to always stand up.
Shout out to Real Black Conscious Forum Podcast, gang. Big Meech checks Cuffy nephew on call with 42 Doug. His dumb ass need to learn how to read the paperwork. Damn. Y'all know 42 Doug gave Big Meech like $100K. I think that's 42 Doug right here. Oh, wait. I'm gonna see if I can get What's up, gang? What's up? What that did put that work in. Gotta get it though. That's a fact. Damn. So Big Meech check Cuffy nephew baby. You know Cuffy mad because Big Meech set him up with the informant. That's 42. That must be Cuffy nephew.
Welcome back to the Many Lies of Cuffy Gatling, Part 4.
Fidel and two or three other Mexicans got caught with 97 kilos of cocaine at a truck stop. And they beat it in trial while he was in the county jail with Meech in 2005 or 2006.
So Cuffy,
they beat the case in trial.
Really, nigga?
The nigga on the left-hand side?
Fidel and two or three other Mexicans got caught with 97 kilos of cocaine at a truck stop. And they beat it in trial.
You can call it that, you done.
With Meech in 2005 or 2006. They beat the case in trial.
What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I click in to inform her about the movie, the progress that me and Louis Burrell, my man out of Oakland, was making on getting the budget. And when she clicked over, and all this is in court documents, she clicked over and told the feds, hey, wait up, there's Cuff on the other end. And when they heard Cuff, they lost their mind.
A few moments later.
All right, no doubt about it. It's really simple, Sean. In early 2013, Meech called me and told me, yo, I got some good people, you know what I mean? Got some good people, got some good numbers. I can't rap right now. Tammy gonna hit you in a minute. An hour later, homie, Tammy called me and put me with the feds. It's really simple, homie.
Okay, Cuff, now you're giving two different stories. So which one is it? In the first story, you said the feds was talking to Tammy. You called in to check on the BMF movie, and she told the feds you were on the other line, and they went crazy, and you became the target. But in the second story, you said Meech called you from jail out of the blue, told you he had a man with good numbers, and Tammy will call you back. Tammy called you back, and an hour later, she put the feds on you. So which one is it? Let's listen again.
I click in to inform her about the movie, the progress that me and Louis Burrell, my man out of Oakland, was making on getting the budget. And when she clicked over, and all this is in court documents, she clicked over and told the feds, hey, wait up, there's Cuff on the other end. And when they heard Cuff, they lost their mind. Sean, in early 2013, Meech called me and told me, yo, I got some good people, you know what I mean? Got some good people, got some good numbers. I can't rap right now. Tammy gonna hit you in a minute. An hour later, homie, Tammy called me and put me with the feds. It's really simple, homie.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
But before that, the nigga Meech sent another Mexican at me that was a government informant, a confidential source. I didn't know that the nigga was bad, but when I meet him, he rubbed me the wrong way. You feel me?
Right.
And so I bagged up both of them. But come 2018, when we get the discovery, I find out that he was an agent, and that a confidential source had introduced us to. Who introduced me to him? Nothing other than Big Meech.
That black people need to stop lying.
Say something.
Now, let's go to November of 2012. Did there come a point when you were working with Mr. Cromer where it was decided that you would no longer be talking with Mr. Gatling?
That is correct.
Okay. And how did that come about?
Because I told him I didn't want to deal with Dion.
Okay. And when you told him that, what did he do?
Then he said, well, that's fine. I'll let him talk to CS2. And that was it.
Okay, so according to Tammy testimony under oath, she stopped fucking with Cuff in 2012 as far as illegal communication. So after 2012, Tammy no longer talked to Cuff about drugs of any kind. No pills, no perks, no heroin, no cocaine, no nothing. This is important because Cuffy tells a story that Meech and Tammy set him up in 2013. But that doesn't line up with Tammy's testimony under oath. If Tammy was lying, during cross-examination, Cuffy's lawyer could have jammed Tammy up and she would have went to jail for perjury, lying on the stand. Just because you're an informant that doesn't give you the right to lie under oath, that doesn't mean you're above the law. But Cuff's lawyer never did that, and that never happened. But it's up to you to ask yourself why.
Not only that, what she testified in court to. What Special Agent Keith Cromer fired disgraced DA agent Keith Cromer, who she was having a illicit sexual relationship with, which killed their case, which killed his time cut. All that's prohibited, and it's not only prohibited, it's criminal. You go to jail for that, man.
So when you...
Five agents was fired, and one was indicted.
Damn.
They gave her $250,000 to set me up, man, to do this.
Damn.
They gave her $250,000 to set me up, man, to do this. They gave her $250,000 to set me up, man, to do this.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Yep, here goes Cuff lying again. According to the paperwork, Tammy was paid $2,500 a month, which was a stipend from the Atlanta DEA for being an informant. Tammy's two largest payments for being a snitch was $50,000 for a Terry White situation and $80,000 just because. But did you notice how Cuff explained that? He always makes himself bigger than what he is, even if he has to lie to do it. All that shit is in Cuff's head. Ain't nobody paid Tammy 250 racks just to take him down? That's bullshit. But dig. Earlier in that interview, Cuffy had the nerve to say that the feds scrapped their entire investigation on Fidel just to focus on him. I mean, come on, can you believe that shit? Roll the clip.
She clicked over, and all this is in court documents. She clicked over and told the feds, hey, wait up, there's Cuff on the other end. And when they heard Cuff, they lost their mind.
So they tried...
Fuck Fidel.
Right.
And directed this toward me.
But the original target was Fidel, so how much did he incur in terms of legal action or pursuit? Did they try to pursue him at the same time, or once they knew you were in the mix, they was like, fuck him, let's just get...
They dropped him. They was like, fuck him.
The doorbell is ringing, and now we have to answer the door with more truth. According to the paperwork, Agent Keith Cromer describes Cuffy as the broke motherfucker with 3 bodies in the trunk. Now let's process this. In order for a drug sting, you need a seller and a buyer. In this case, Cuff would be the buyer. Cuff is trying to tell us that the feds turned their attention from Fidel, who's this supposed plug, distributor, a drug wholesaler, just to direct their attention on him. But that would list him as a buyer, but he's too broke to be a buyer. At this time, he's already 47 years old. There is no such thing as a 47-year-old drug kingpin that's going to physically be at a drug transaction. So this whole idea that the DEA was aiming at him to get Meech out is bullshit. Meech is a kingpin, and at his height, Meech was moving 2,500 kilos of cocaine a month out of Atlanta, which means there is no DOJ in the country that's going to do a deal to let a kingpin out of prison for a washed-up drug dealer like Cuffy. That's some shit that's just not going to happen.
Now, Cuff, Meech reached out to you and hit you about the movie rights, or making the movie, or Tammy approached you about making the movie?
No, I reached out to Meech and told him, hey, yo, if you can get your movie rights over to your people, man, like your family or somebody, we can get this bread. You feel me?
Right.
But instead of him turning over his life rights to his moms or his sister, Danielle, or one of them, for some reason he turned it over to this Tammy Collins broad.
A few moments later. What was your relationship with Tammy as it relates to the BMF story and the life rights of Meech? What y'all was trying to do with that?
He introduced me to Tammy around 2009. My job was to procure a movie script. And so that's what we were working on. I told her that she needed to get his life rights, and that I would get us a deal. Procure a movie script. And so that's what we were working on. I told her that she needed to get his life rights, and that I would get us a deal, which means
Cuffy, here we go again. You put two different stories on the table. First, you told Sean G you didn't know why Meech gave Tammy his life rights. Moments later, you tell Dogface that you were the one that told Big Meech to give Tammy the life rights.
Huh? Now you see now. You done fucked up, you know that though.
Pink ass lips, nigga.
I see what I'm saying.
I thought
that's so, you know what I'm saying? You done fucked up now, you know that, don't you?
when Meech and them case went in the toilet, they indicted me on 2 homicides. They panicked and they indicted me on 2 homicides based on my co-defendant statements. When Meech and them case went in the toilet, they indicted me on 2 homicides. They panicked and they indicted me on 2 homicides based on my co-defendant statements. They panicked and they indicted me on 2 homicides based on my co-defendant statements.
So, Cuff, you gotta make up your mind. Are you locked up because of Big Meech or your co-defendant? We've seen you on 3,000 interviews, and you never say what exactly did your co-defendant say that would make you have to plea out to 2 homicides. Now, we see why it was 4 niggas on a case, and all 4 of you niggas had different lawyers. Because y'all was making deals against each other, this explains why your paperwork is sealed. So what I really want to know is, how do 2 government informants get killed, and none of you niggas get life in prison without the possibility of parole?
Damn,
This nigga Cuff be on podcasts talking about ghost guns and all this bullshit. No, nigga, we want to know this. The killing of 1 government informant is a life sentence. Y'all niggas killed 2 government informants and nobody got life. Damn. Niggas running around like they kept it solid. Ain't nobody slow enough to believe that ghost gun shit. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Both snitch?
Homie, you feel me?
Now, Cuff. You ain't heard. When was the last time you spoke to him, man?
The last time I spoke to this brother, man, and we go back 30 plus years, just to communicate that to your audience. 30 plus years, homie. The last time I talked to this nigga, homie, was when he put me with them people. You understand? When he told me Tammy gonna be calling me early 2013, homie.
And then you reached out to him, and when did you find out Tammy was no good? At the Franks hearing?
No, soon as the
so
went down,
his co-defense snitched on and Big Meech snitched on him.
So immediately my attorneys, immediately after the sting, my attorney sent Meech correspondence saying, yo, Cuff need to holler at you. Your friend Tammy put him in a real bad jam with the police. I heard nothing back from him. My lawyers, he don't respond, period. And so we've been trying to contact this nigga all during the Franks hearing and everything on it. No response.
A few moments later.
And I knew that Meech could come forward and kill the whole conspiracy. Just saying that the conspiracy is based on Meech communicating from Tammy, sending me a truckload of drugs. It's all made up. From jail, homie. He could have killed this whole deal. They never had any drugs. You understand what I'm saying? But that's how conspiracy works in this system, and this nasty system. But when Meech shot down the offer, when we sent my attorneys out, he was at FCI Lompoc in California. And he responded back to my attorneys that he didn't want to have nothing to do with nothing, and he stopped communicating with them. So then that told my attorneys right there that Demetrius Flannery is a part of this whole deal. And I couldn't believe it. You feel me?
This shit is wild.
So immediately my attorneys, immediately after the sting, my attorney sent Meech correspondence saying, yo, Cuff need to holler at you. Your friend Tammy put him in a real bad jam with the police. I heard nothing back from him. My lawyers, he don't respond, period. And so we've been trying to contact this nigga all doing the Frank turn and everything on it. No response. When we sent my attorneys out, he was at FCI Lompoc in California. And he responded back to my attorneys that he didn't want to have nothing to do with nothing, and he stopped communicating with them. So then that told my attorneys right there that Demetrius Flannery is a part of this whole deal, and I couldn't believe it. You feel me?
That black people need to stop lying. Say something.
This nigga Cuff got more stories than the highway patrol, so bruh, which one is it? Either Meech responded back, or he didn't, but one thing for sure, and two things for certain, with you telling the story, we will never know.
Make sure you like, share, and comment, and tune in to part 5 of Cuff is Always Lying.
Shout out to Hood War Chronicles, man.
The audio's gonna come out because it's floating and they trying to move it. It's coming out.
Your boy 42 Doug
Shout out
responds
to 42,
50 Cent. 42 Doug responds and says, man, show me the paperwork that he's a rat or shut up talking to me about it. You
Things between 50 Cent and Big Meech are getting out of control, and Meech's side just turned up the heat. So it all went down on February 25th when 50 hopped on IG and dropped some supposed legal documents claiming they proved Big Meech had some level of cooperation with a federal informant. The paperwork originally came from social media personality 1090 Jake, and according to 50, it shows how Tammy Cowens allegedly took info from Meech and helped the feds take down some heavy-hitting TF-ickers. This isn't just internet gossip. Real names, real cases, real consequences.
But I'm in here with a 27-year sentence based on Demetrius Flannery, and you all know as Big Meech, and Tammy Cowens, known in the paperwork as CS1. What Big Meech did was called a third-party cooperation. So Tammy Cowens signed up to be a DEA informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut, plain and simple.
Then came 42 Doug. Allegedly, when Meech got out, Doug gave him $100,000, and 50 was not feeling that. He went straight to IG, classic petty mode activated, and called Doug out saying that money should have gone to his own people instead of Meech. And of course, he didn't just say it. He made sure the world knew, posting something along the lines of, "Your daddy, my ninja. I love you and cheese cause of Q, but you made a mistake giving Screech $100K. You could have given that to your ninjas. You always been hard-headed. WTF." Doug wasn't about to let that slide, though. He clapped back on his IG stories, standing by Meech and making it very clear that nobody was going to turn him against Detroit. And when blogs started running with the whole $100K story, Doug shut it down, calling it straight-up fake news. Then, just when you thought it couldn't get messier, 50 dropped some texts. And the streets had been waiting for this. The messages basically said that Cuffy's nephew had an audio recording of him, 42 Doug, and Big Meech on a three-way call. And apparently, that conversation went left real fast.
The audio's gonna come out because it's floating and they trying to move it. It's coming out.
When the audio finally leaked, it was exactly the drama everyone expected. In the call, Bay was pressing Meech hard, asking the questions everybody wanted answers to. Like, why was Meech still rocking with Tammy Cowens after everything that went down with Cuffy? If she really snitched and helped the feds take down BMF associates, why hadn't Meech cut her off? Instead of clearing things up, Meech got defensive. He basically said he didn't owe anybody an explanation. Not Bay, not the streets,
so that's what we listened to in the other one, and they was on the phone call yelling.
Snitching, they needed to show the paperwork.
He said he keeps saying he don't gotta explain himself, but he guilty for sure.
Well, guess what? 50 already claimed to have that paperwork locked and loaded, but Bay wasn't letting up. He kept pressing Meech, especially about never disowning Tammy despite her alleged role in Cuffy's case. And listen, Bay had some valid points, because a lot of people have been side-eyeing Meech for never publicly addressing Tammy's involvement. Then, when Bebe really started going off, Meech straight up hung up the call. And let's be real, that's not a good look. After the audio hit the streets, Bebe sat down for a 30-minute interview with Dogface TV, where he went even deeper into the drama. He claimed Meech knew exactly what Tammy was doing and that the snitching allegations were all about a deal. According to him, Meech was supposed to get a reduced sentence in exchange for Tammy working with the feds.
For Meech, he shouldn't know. Well, it's not so much he pillow talked. He put them together. He put her and Cuffy her stories, but that's not pillow talking. He's directly put them together.
And there's paperwork backing that up. The legal docs reportedly show that Tammy met Cuffy through Meech, which is how Cuffy got caught up in this mess. And it gets worse. Meech also allegedly connected Fidel Suarez with Tammy, which means multiple people got wrapped up in this whole third-party cooperation situation. While Meech might have gotten some benefits from it, Cuffy ended up with a sentence. That's why people are calling Meech a rat. Meanwhile, 50 Cent has been keeping all the receipts, airing out anybody aligned with his enemies. And guess what? Big Meech and his son, Lil Meech, have been seen hanging out with 50's longtime rivals. So how did 50 respond? You already know. Straight to Instagram, throwing all the shade. He dropped more cryptic posts, made jokes, and kept firing shots at Meech and his family. But what really had people talking was 50 hinting at a tell-all documentary about BMF, featuring Tammy Cowens. If that actually happens, it's going to blow the lid off this entire situation. And let's not forget, 50 has been going at Lil Meech hard, even leaking messages where Lil Meech was trying to stay on his good side. 50 even threatened to drop him from the BMF show entirely. Oh, and he didn't stop there. He kept pushing those substance abuse allegations, claiming producers and cast members had seen the same thing, and even accused Big Meech of enabling his son's behavior. This whole situation just keeps getting messier, and it's nowhere near settling down. The streets want answers, Bebe is turning up the heat, and 50 is out here exposing paperwork that supposedly lays everything out. Now let's get into the dirty details. Back when the Black Mafia family was moving serious weight, they had BMF Entertainment running as a music label, except it wasn't really about the music. It was a front to launder money, and while the label promoted multiple artists, the only one actually signed to BMF was Blue Da Vinci. At one point, around 263 BMF members ended up getting indicted, supposedly.
263 members get indicted.
63 or 363?
Affiliated with BMF.
Yeah, I told people it was about 300 people, man. So people were still getting indicted when I left and went to jail.
But Blue, he managed to stay free for over a year before the feds finally scooped him up. The charges against him weren't about being a big-time player. He was accused of handling shipments, unloading kilos, and counting cash at stash houses in Atlanta. Eventually, he got hit with a 5-year, 4-month prison sentence, plus another 5 years of supervised release. But here's where things get dicey. Over the years, a lot of BMF members started throwing accusations at Blue, saying he snitched to get a lighter sentence. One of the loudest voices, Dexter Sosa Hussey, a former BMF logistics guy who served 12 years for TF-icking and money laundering. Now, Sosa wasn't just some low-level dude. He was moving 150-kilo loads at a time, coordinating with cartels, and making sure everything ran smoothly across the country. He was so deep in the game, he even studied police patrol patterns and traffic flow just to keep the product moving without getting caught.
The drugs would get dropped off in LA, and then you would make sure they get delivered to wherever they need to get delivered.
Wherever they had to go.
And you had been doing this for years at this point.
Yes.
And when he spoke on Vlad TV, he made it clear. He believed Blue Da Vinci cooperated.
Did Blue Da Vinci cooperate or no?
Yeah, he cooperated. I mean, I didn't see it. It was in Miss Mara Shalhoub's book, where his own lawyer said, yeah.
Turns out he had a reason for thinking that. If you look at Blue's sentencing transcripts, it's all spelled out. When Blue was called up in court, his own lawyer basically put him on blast, telling the judge that, yes, Blue did try to cooperate with the feds. He was debriefed, but the government ultimately decided he didn't have any useful info that could help take down the rest of BMF. So did he technically snitch? Well, it's complicated. He definitely tried to. Since his info didn't actually hurt anyone, some argue that he didn't really cross the line. Sosa and others, though, say that even confirming things other informants had already said still counts as cooperating, and they weren't about to let that slide. Blue, on the other hand, insists that even Big Meech once accused him of snitching but later apologized for it. Regardless, the damage was done. His name was permanently stained. But here's the twist. Blue Da Vinci would eventually flip the script and drop paperwork on Big Meech. In a 2023 interview with Cam Capone, Blue brought out receipts exposing Tammy Cowens, and that's where things really started getting crazy.
You're talking about Tammy Cowens, right?
Yeah, Tammy Cowens.
Okay, now
she's a co-producer of the BMF Stars TV show.
Okay, and you're saying
Fine.
Okay, so I'm on the page right now.
Yeah, it's 32 pages or something.
Tammy wasn't just some random person. She was Big Meech's assistant, someone he trusted while he was locked up. She stayed in contact with him through phone calls and letters, and with Meech looking at years behind bars, he made a huge business decision. He signed over his life rights to Tammy. That meant she owned the rights to his life story and could turn it into a multi-million-dollar deal. But that wasn't the only move Meech made from prison. While inside, he met a guy named Fidel Suarez, who owned a trucking company out in California. Now Suarez had already been investigated and even arrested for drug trafficking back in 2005 and 2009, but he never got convicted. Meech saw an opportunity and used Tammy to connect Suarez with a lifelong friend of his.
Wherever the road takes you.
An opportunity and used Tammy to connect Suarez with a lifelong friend of his, Cuffy Gatling, a major player in the St. Louis drug scene. What Meech and Cuffy didn't know, Tammy was a federal informant. She was literally reporting everything back to the feds. According to paperwork, Tammy had been working as a confidential informant CS1 for the Atlanta DEA since 2009, helping take down major figures in the drug game.
Tammy Carr was signed up to be a DEA informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut.
One of her first targets was a legendary Atlanta kingpin named Terry White. Her info led to his conviction in a money laundering case.
For me, in 2010, she did a case that was pertaining to a guy that Meech met in prison and one of Meech's homeboys of 26 years.
Now, Tammy Cowens wasn't your typical informant. She had no criminal record, wasn't a drug user, wasn't out for money, and wasn't trying to reduce a sentence. Instead, it seems like she was out for revenge after Terry White unknowingly had her laundering money for him. At first, she wasn't even a paid informant, but one of the agents put her in for a reward, a percentage of the property seized in the case. When all was said and done, she walked away with $55,000 for helping put Terry White behind bars. Here's the wild part. Tammy wasn't just some associate. In 2011, while Meech was behind bars, he allegedly asked her to help set up a snow deal through Suarez. He had her connect Suarez with Cuffy, but instead of keeping it quiet, Tammy ran straight to the feds, claiming Meech had her coordinate the whole thing while still in prison. Now you'd think that would land Meech in even more trouble, right? But for some reason, he was never indicted for any of this. And later, when Tammy had to testify at a hearing, she straight up denied that Meech had any role in drug trafficking or that he ever told her to connect Suarez with Cuffy. That's when the feds started realizing she might not be as credible as they thought. And it only got worse when they found out she was sleeping with the federal agent assigned to her case.
They admitted that they had this relationship and everything, so it was the whole case. Now it's infidelity in the case. They can't take the statements and more because she didn't the agent. You feel me? So they threw it out.
So why did Tammy suddenly start covering for Meech? Well, wiretaps tied Cuffy to the murders of 2 informants, and she had already snitched on his drug operations, leading to his indictment in 2014. But when Cuffy's legal team started filing motions, Tammy panicked. She realized people might figure out she was the informant. Scared for her life, she even drove to Louisiana, trying to meet Meech in prison to explain herself. They didn't meet in person, but when they talked, Meech wasn't mad. He just didn't want his name mixed up in the mess. That had people wondering, did he already know? Tammy scrambled to fix things, claiming the wiretaps were fake, saying Meech had nothing to do with it, and even blaming a jealous DEA agent for setting him up. But the feds weren't buying it. She had lost all credibility. In the end, Cuffy got slammed with 27 years in prison. And Meech, he's all out here, getting dragged for all these allegations flying left and right. And with 50 Cent out here exposing paperwork and threatening to tell everything, this story is far from over.
Shout out to Cam Capone News. Big homie CC, he talks about the 42 Doug situation. 42 Doug, crazy as fuck. You know what I'm saying about that 100K? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, man, the government used black people to take people
feel
down,
like
each other
50's
down,
making
man.
a big
So
deal
like,
out of something that's
man.
really not a big deal. You know, I feel like he expects Big Meech to treat him the way Tony Yayo treats him. I feel like he expects Big Meech
They
to
said
act like they grew up together just because he put a little bit of money in his pocket. He helped his son, and they did the show together, you know. And me personally, I wouldn't expect that type of loyalty from somebody who I never even met. You know what I'm saying? They just met when he got out of jail. They probably didn't even meet before he went to jail. You know, 50 said he never was around BMF when they were lit. So, expecting somebody to be loyal to you just because you put some money in your pocket, I think you're going to be let down. You know, I think loyalty has to come with time, you know, respect and build off a relationship, you know, out of knowing each other and out of love for each other. I don't think it just comes, you know, just money, bro. I don't think money is enough. I don't think you can buy loyalty.
You can't.
It's something that you get with time.
Not even time, because niggas still backstab you over time.
And getting to know somebody, you know?
You just gotta be a real nigga.
He said this. He said he would rather people respect and fear him than love him, because he's had people who loved him do something crazy and then just say they sorry.
Yep.
But people who respect him and fear him wouldn't do that in the first place. So you 100% right. You know what I'm saying? But Meech don't have that connection to him. Meech his own boss. He probably look at 50 as a rapper. This is why in our community we have to start having round tables. We have to start opening up the floor for dialogue. No cameras, no content creation, no internet bullshit. Have to start sitting down at the round table and addressing issues like men
look at the government shit.
used to do.
Do that
because
shit.
Now guys
up.
coming to the internet causing an uproar when they could have sat in front of each other and ended the problem. Because it's nobody wins when the family feuds. You feel me? Shout out Hove. And when it boils down to it, who's really gonna benefit from this?
Nobody really.
Nobody. And I just think it's crass. I think the abundance of negativity is causing our culture to get watered down. You know, that's why you see. I'm waiting for everybody to just start putting on nail polish and dresses.
Facts,
you know, I'm waiting to see that, because that's all it can be. How all of the dudes is acting.
They're already doing it.
The females is linking up, fighting each other. All on the TV shows, out in the street, and guys is arguing. Going back and forth, screaming on Clubhouse. I call it Zest House. You feel me? Screaming on Zest House, making posts, just goofball, corny, man. I think they need to sit down, man. I think they need to get that together, because was 50 sitting on this information the whole time?
50 Cent has been called out for selective politicking. Yes.
Ooh, selective politicking. That's a key point. That's a key point.
So if Big Meech would have never left them, he probably would have exposed them.
Just how 50 had that recorded conversation that Young Bucky's on there crying. He sat on that until Young Buck flipped. Young Buck traded on, he dropped that. You gotta know who you dealing with. You gotta know this is a person right here who expects people to trade on him. He's expecting betrayal, so he's gonna position himself to be ready for it. If you a boss, you should know this. I digress.
Yeah.
42 Doug got some backlash from 50 for giving Meech $100K. Like, damn, I can't imagine the Big Meech needed $100K.
Man, bro, he gonna need 100. He been gone, 20 years?
Yeah.
He been gone 20 years, and you seen Lil Meech just said to 50, like, man, he went over to Ross because Ross gave him some money to pay his bills. He not selling bricks no more.
Nah.
He been off the street 20 years, man.
He got no music really.
You know
He sold his
I'm sure
name.
there's been several other raids that took place while he was locked up trying to seize more of his assets.
He sold his shit to
anything that they could find. And, you know, he gonna need that 100K, bro. But for 50 to be
I think it's right in with a motherfucking
He should have at least.
Elon
don't you
Musk
think he at least made a couple mil from the BMF TV show?
The fuck?
You see how they living? You see them big chains they got?
He saw that shit on that jeans and shit.
Cars, kids, bills. When did BMF come out? What year was that? How long ago was that? About 4 years ago?
They're on their 4th season, right? Yep, their 4th season is starting in June.
He spent all of it.
You know, just like I know, Cam, $1 million, and you live in the rapper was in jail.
Yeah. He was in jail though, bro. So I don't.
He still got wife, kids.
Yeah.
He gonna need that 100, bro. And then you know he a legend. A lot of people, he affected the culture in a major way.
He want to be his own boss. He don't want to be a lackey.
When Rowdy Rebel came home, a lot of people hit him with some money. Bootsy came home, a lot of people hit him with some money. That's part of the culture. So I feel like a round table should have been called previously, because now things is liable to get out of hand now.
That Bobby Murder fucked up his career.
Meech on a rap song.
And shit, he fucked up his career.
You think we're gonna hear Meech rapping?
Yes.
Damn.
Yes, I do. Expect that.
Look at BG. He started rapping when he got out.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon, so hit that like button.
Alright, boom, back. So y'all see from that situation, man, Cuffy, I don't know how much reliable we can depend on Cuffy, because it's like he keep on switching up his stories with him and that female, the cooperant who got him and Meech in fucking trouble even more, to say that he snitched and shit. You know, like I said, man, females, man, you can't never really do crime with a female, man, because a female gonna have one option. That's the snitch. 9 times out of 10, they don't go to jail. And the thing about that is, they won't even get in trouble. They don't get praised for snitching. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, when you get a female into some gangster shit, unless you're not like really built like that, and you just met this bitch and she just on some shit, it's kind of hard. That's why I don't like to bring females or just people in general on the platform, because y'all gotta understand, man. The government be looking at people's shit. Killers be looking at niggas shit. Like, people who want to take niggas out, you look at people's shit. So it's like, you gotta understand that if they get to your female, if they can't get to you, they get to your female. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta understand that when you living a life like this, man, you can't really have people that you fuck with, because they can turn on you easily. You know what I'm saying? With any opportunity, especially if they get mad at you. Don't let a female get mad at you, because female feelings, female emotions and feelings dictate how they feel, what will they do at that time. They open up their legs for another nigga because they mad at you. They'll snitch on you because they mad at you. They'll set you up by the ops because they mad at you. They don't think about the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta understand that when you put a female into a situation that's, you know, it's life or death, you gotta be careful, real careful, man. And Dean and Big Homie CC, you know, Big Homie CC, he been around the industry a lot and around people that Big Meech know. You know, a lot of people, man, didn't think that Meech would get down like this. You know what I'm saying? Especially Dean. You know what I'm saying? These type of people, man, you know, when they looking through back on this shit, I bet they like, damn, this shit got really fucked up real quick, man. And it's like, when you around super, super rich people, man, anything can happen at any moment, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you on some crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes you gotta look into the paperwork. You just can't go off of feelings, man. And, you know, 42 Doug, man, he I ain't saying he did something wrong, but at the same time, man, if everybody's saying he's a snitch, man, and you giving that nigga money on, I understand he's from Detroit, but it's like, damn, you get what I'm saying? It's like, fuck, you know, it's some real shit going on, you know what I'm saying? You know, you put yourself in a situation where you don't even have to do half that shit, you know what I'm saying? And doing all that dumbass shit, man, you know, there's nothing wrong with helping out people, but at the same time, you gotta be at risk. Like, if you helping out niggas, man, niggas might think you a op. You know what I'm saying? And do what it do. So, that's why I said, man, the Big Meech situation, man, is getting tougher. You know what I'm saying? Do we think that Big Meech might start back rapping? I think so. I mean, BG did. BG not snitch, though, but BG did. So, it's like, he come back on the scene and start back rapping, but how would it change people's minds and opinions, and would people start fucking with him? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to say let's turn down black niggas, because like that's what the government want us to turn down black niggas, but at the same time, man, they do promote snitches more than like real niggas. So, hey, it's all depends on the person. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, man. Fuck with your boy, like and subscribe. We out this bitch. Hood, Northside. Big Crip in the gang. Northside shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.